What is up, y'all? Welcome back to Scotty Holiday 2. My name is Scotty Holiday. I'm a queer creator and a huge Star Wars nerd, so if you're into either one of those things, please consider subscribing to my channel. Episode 4 of Andor is out now, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the episode from start to finish. Admittedly, I have to say this episode left me wanting more, and I can't wait to see all the different plot points we saw set up executed in the future. It almost felt like reading a book where you just finished a chapter, and even though you really want to keep reading, you know you have to go to bed. Before we get started, please make sure to like the video and leave a comment letting me know what you thought of the new episode. I'm going to be putting out weekly reviews for each new episode of Andor, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. If you haven't seen my review of episodes 1 through 3, I've put a link in the cards and in the description so you can check it out if you'd like. I was also featured as a guest on the Krypton to Alderaan podcast, where we talked everything Andor from episodes 1 through 3, characters we hope to see in the series, politics in Star Wars, and even a bit about myself. I've added a link in the cards and the description so you can check out the episode wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure to follow and subscribe to Krypton to Alderaan too. Now, let's get into this review. Episode 4 kicks off shortly after the events in Episode 3 with Cassian and Luthen aboard his ship, heading to the planet Aldhani. As they fly through hyperspace, Luthen attempts to recruit Cassian to the cause, which, at this point in his life, Cassian believes is useless. He tells a lie about his past and, surprisingly, Luthen calls him out on it, repeating that he knows who Cassian is and explains that his actual goal in going to Ferrix was to recruit Cassian over anything else. He offers Cassian a job stealing the quarterly payroll for the entire Imperial sector from an Imperial depot on the planet Aldhani. Once Luthen gets Cassian on board with the plan, the episode really starts to kick off. When they arrive on Aldhani, as a down payment, Luthen gives Cassian his necklace, which obviously seems like it has some sort of importance to him or the story itself. The necklace has a long crystal which Luthen says is made of blue kyber and skystone called a Kawaii signet. Luthen goes out to meet his informant, Vel, to basically tell her Cassian is now a last-minute addition to the job they've been prepping for the past few months, 3 days before the mission is set to take place. During their discussion outside the ship, Luthen starts to yell at her, and I found this dynamic to be a bit odd. It almost felt like a parent yelling at their child, so I'm quite interested to see if there's more to their relationship than the show is letting on. We'll just have to wait and see how things play out. As they hike back to the camp, Cassian asks Vel about who Luthen is, and something that stood out to me was the fact that she tells him Luthen is someone they will never discuss, and to never mention Luthen's involvement. As they continue hiking through the mountains on Aldhani, there's a scene where 2 TIE fighters fly overhead, and these fighters, the terrain, mixed with the cold, damp, mountainous environment, really reminded me of the planet Zepho from Jedi Fallen Order. We meet Vel's team at their campsite, and as expected, they're not too happy about Cassian's last-minute surprise inclusion, and make it a point to voice their grievances with Vel. She's met with a lot of pushback, but stands her ground, and over the day, they integrate Cassian into the group and familiarize him with the details of the mission. Lieutenant Gorn, Vel's contact at the Imperial depot on Aldhani, advises her of an Imperial engineer arriving from Coruscant, and I'm curious if the engineer he's referring to could be none other than Galen Erso. Also, anyone else get queer vibes from Nemec? Seeing him just standing there with a gun, all in his gear and stuff, I was like, oh my god, this is literally me if I was a part of a rebel cell. And can we talk about that model he built of the Imperial depot? He was so proud of it, and it was so fucking cute. I love the world building for the planet Aldhani they did in this episode as well, between the Imperials driving out the locals, their history of the Nazma Brani Temple, and the celestial event, the Eye of the Aldhani. From the description of this event alone, I really hope it's something we get to see on screen. We head to Coruscant next to meet Denise Goff's character, Dedra as she attends a meeting at the Imperial Security Bureau building on the planet. I love the fact that we're getting to essentially see her in her 9 a.m. work meeting. The meeting is being led by a new character, Major Pargataz, who essentially calls everyone out on how poor of a job they're doing in their assigned sectors. He says, security is an illusion, and compares the ISB to a healthcare system, saying the longer we wait to identify a disorder, the harder it is to treat the disease, which I really liked. Dedra discovers that the Starpath unit Cassian stole was from Steerguard, an Imperial naval base under her jurisdiction, and attempts to get access to the file on the Ferrix incident. Her request is ultimately shut down by both Lieutenant Supervisor Blevin and Major Pargataz, stating that she's basically overstepping her boundaries on a case they're not taking too seriously, and they're not taking her seriously either. She tells them straight up that she believes the stolen Starpath unit is a part of a growing, organized effort to steal Imperial equipment in anticipation of an organized rebellion. But regardless of the patterns, Major Pargataz refuses to act or even entertain her ideas without concrete evidence. I also love Dedra's assistant, and the scene of the two of them looking through their data pads for the missing Starpath unit literally felt like me and my bestie creeping on some hot guy's social media. I think I kind of stan Dedra, and hopefully that comment doesn't come back to bite me in the ass later. In this episode, we also got to learn a bit more about Luthen Rail. As he heads back to Coruscant, we watch him transform his persona to an art collector and dealer to Coruscant's high society. This transformation isn't complete without an entire outfit change, wig, change of speech, and overall change of demeanor. And we all know he did not apply that lace front on his own. I love the scene of him in his ship where we can literally see him practicing his role to himself as if he's an actor getting ready for a performance, and that's exactly what we see once Mon Mothma arrives at his gallery. She goes to the gallery under the guise of needing a gift for her husband's Day of Days, and as Luthen takes her through the artifacts, Clea, who is obviously in on Luthen's dealings, distracts Mon Mothma's driver with some old coins while she and Luthen head to the back room. It's at this point where we learn that not only Luthen is putting on an act, but so is Mon Mothma, and I was really surprised when they both dropped it so abruptly. She explains to Luthen the difficulties she's facing pulling funds, dealing with spies in the Senate, saying she feels like she's under siege. You can really tell how difficult and honestly outright scary things have become for her during their conversation. She says she thinks she found someone who can help her, and Luthen asks if she's asking to bring this someone into their circle, which then made me curious as to who is already in their circle and who could she be trying to bring into it. My initial thought was Bail Organa, but I would assume he would already be in their circle. I'm glad her and Luthen are already working together as well within the timeline. I love the scenes of her in her ship decompressing after the visit to the gallery. You can really tell by her body language and facial expressions just how dangerous things are getting and how the stress and anxiety of it all is weighing on her. Of course, from here, I've got to talk about Mon Mothma herself. We arrive at her home on Coruscant following her trip to Luthen's gallery, and I have to say, I love the design of her home. It feels so regal and very elegant, just like her. We meet her husband Perrin, who sucks, by the way. He reminds her about a dinner for the governor of Hana, the capital of Chandrila and Legends, which she forgot about and is probably the last thing she wants to do right now. Looking over the seating chart, she points out Ars Dangur and Sly Moore from the Vizier's private chamber, all of which we know are close and loyal to Emperor Palpatine. She says to her husband that they hate her and spend every day trying to undo anything she's touched, but he doesn't really seem to care, even calling them fun people, which I assume means he supports the Empire, or worse, doesn't even care. He clearly has no idea what Mon Mothma is doing behind closed doors against the Empire as well. Their relationship seems very strained at this point, and I honestly hope she leaves him because my girl deserves better. I really hope we get to see this dinner in the series as well. I can only imagine how tense it would play out, and hopefully the scenes of the gathering in her home from the trailer is this aforementioned dinner. I also have to talk about our return to Coruscant for the first time in 17 years. In live action, of course, not counting Rogue One. I can't begin to explain how excited I was when I saw the shot of the planet and saw Coruscant, capital of the galaxy, pop up on my TV screen. Throughout the episode, I really loved all the sweeping shots of the planet. Even in the background scenes, I think it's the best Coruscant has ever looked in live action so far. And last but not least, I can't finish my review without mentioning the aftermath of the incident on Ferrix. Due to the complete failure of the mission, the Empire has decided to shut down the Corpo group and basically take over authority on the planet. I can't tell you how satisfying it felt seeing the Corpos get reprimanded, and specifically, Syril getting congratulated for getting the entire security group shut down, losing his job, and then having to go live with his mom. She really did the Star Wars community a favor when she slapped him. So what did you think about the 4th episode of Andor? I don't know about y'all, but I kinda miss seeing B2. There were also a ton of Easter eggs in this episode. Were there any specific ones that caught your eye? And who do you think Mon Mothma was referring to when she told Luthen she found someone who could help her? Let me know in the comments below or hit me up on Twitter so we can chat more about it. I'm going to be putting out weekly reviews for each new episode of Andor as they come out, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. My review of episodes 1 through 3 is out now, as well as my episode with the Krypton to Alderaan podcast talking all about the premiere. Please consider checking them out at the links in the description below. I really appreciate all of your support so much. Make sure to like the video and consider subscribing to my channel for more Star Wars content. And to keep up with my latest updates, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I've got the links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.